Of course, there's a lot to read between the lines, but as you know, and as I always tell you, I hate to force my opinion upon
Right.
people. I have an opinion, really, and I don't think people want to hear my opinion about things because I don't agree with anyone basically. But no, I would never want to force my. It's not my task as a musician. I really feel that I didn't like it when musicians did that when I was a kid. When they forced especially political opinions on me. I don't like that.
The tensions rising here on Sanctuary Island.
Arjen, it's great to see you again. It's almost like, around this time of year, every year, for 5 years straight, I have my interview with you because there's always something happening. For somebody that wants to calm down and take it easy, doesn't seem to work out. You're always releasing something.
I gotta keep busy, man. It's all I do. I have no family. I have no social life. I have no friends. And I tried gardening, but it's like crap. You do all the weeds and and then the next day they're back. I hate it. So it's all I can do. Sorry for bothering everyone with my stuff, but.
Oh boy! Now we're just fishing for compliments, and
of course,
and you do that as well. Also with the title of songs no one will hear.
Well, it's a risk. It's a risk. It's a risk of reviews saying like no one wants to hear that. So I took a risk there. I don't know if it's fishing for compliments.
Well, I mean, that you have a loyal fan base
that's
be
true.
all over this. But,
yeah.
Maybe to turn that into a more serious question, though, because everybody that knows that follows you to some extent knows that you are not necessarily the most actively touring artist or playing shows. That we get a handful of shows every couple of years, and those shows tend to be obviously very much focused on the Ayreon music. Sometimes we see some Star One sprinkled in as well. But is it a fair assumption that now that this album is coming out, that is kind of the end for these songs? Should we ever expect to hear these songs live?
Well, when we played the Electric Castle shows with Ayreon, as encore, we did one song of each side project. So we did Guild Machine, we did Gentle Storm, we even did a Marillion song because Fish was there. Anyway, we also did a song of my previous solo album, Lost in a New Wheel. We did Pink Beatles in a Purple Zeppelin, where I was sadly prophesizing that, maybe one day AI can write songs.
Yeah.
Which unfortunately came true. So yeah, it is possible that one of the songs would end up on an Ayreon show.
Yeah.
But indeed, not the whole album.
Yeah.
Sure.
So what is that? I know that you're obviously, you're very clear about this. You're not an artist to be a performer on stage. You are much more you feel more at home in the studio and working on the songs. But is that as a creator, even when you're not really too interested in playing songs live altogether, is that a little bittersweet when you finish a song that like, well, and now that's that, and let's move on to the next one?
No, not at all. No. That's the process for me, the creating. Even coming up with a little idea, like on my guitar, putting it on my phone, like, oh, this is going to work, and then going in my studio. And often I end up with a completely different song. Nothing of the original idea is gone. And I'm just working and trying out my synthesizers. And that's, that's where I have the fun. And it was already in the days where I was the 15 years that I was touring. It was the same, everyone was like, yeah, touring, party, tour bus. And I was like, oh my God. I want to be home, and in my studio and creating songs. No, so that's really, for me, that's that's the biggest pleasure to write
Yeah.
songs. And having said that, I don't mean that it isn't very cool now, that we play every 2 years and I see those songs actually being performed live.
Hmm.
That is fantastic too, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. Because the audience becomes another instrument, if you will, right? In those
Totally,
versions.
totally. You never know if it's going to work. Which songs are gonna work. Especially when you play a whole album. You
Mm.
play a whole album. There are always songs that were never meant. Well, none of my music was meant to be played live, but some of the songs just don't work live. So it's always scary which songs are
Yeah,
going
yeah,
to
yeah,
work
yeah, yeah,
live.
yeah.
She should have told the man so many times she tried.
This album is, I think, it's been described as the soundtrack to the end of humanity. You told me, I think it was our last interview, but you told me that you just love bad endings. That you love, horror movies where basically the
It's
monster or
true.
the bad thing wins.
It's
Um,
true. Yeah, yeah.
so when we listen to this album, which is, I mean, it tells the story of we're about to be hit by a meteor, and the world is gonna fall apart, and we see different people reacting in different ways to that. Um, there's obviously it's not hard for every song to just scratch a little bit under the surface and see a ton of social commentary and metaphor and whatnot. Is that the right way to interpret, or is this first and foremost, fueled by your passion for bad endings and scary stories?
My music is, I want to offer escapism. That's the first thing I want to do. But like you said, of course, if you want to, read between the lines, there are a lot of metaphors. I mean, in this story, it's an asteroid that destroys the world, but the asteroid totally is not important in the story. It's about
Mm-hmm.
human emotions. What would humans do if they only had 5 months left to live? Um, but yeah, of course, there's a lot to read between the lines. But as you know, and as I always tell you, I hate to force my opinion upon
Right.
people. I have an opinion, really, and I don't think people want to hear my opinion about things because I don't agree with anyone basically. But no, I would never want to force my. It's not my task as a musician. I really feel that I didn't like it when musicians did that when I was a kid. When they forced especially political opinions on me. I don't like that.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll stay away from those. I'll also stay away from any kind of story spoilers. I've had the chance to listen to the full album, obviously, already.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
there's no real spoilers. I mean, asteroid is coming. The world is gonna end.
I see what you're trying to do here.
There's
You do
no
that.
Bruce Willis here. There's no Bruce Willis who's gonna save us.
There's no Bruce Willis. There's no Bruce Willis. But you know that the moment anything comes out that has your name on it, fans are gonna can't wait to start looking for Easter eggs and other things. And I
There
won't
are
touch on those. I won't touch on
there
those because
are plenty Easter eggs, especially
there
at
are
the end of the
plenty.
album. So yeah,
Yeah.
which I'm not gonna explain.
No, of course not. You've never really followed stereotypes or conventions in your songwriting, but when you have like when it's your solo project, maybe you feel even a little bit more of a freedom in there. Like you've got songs.
Totally.
The first song that was released, as a single, 14 minutes long, is obviously not going to be the number one on the pop charts. Very easily, it's not
No,
radio friendly.
Spotify is not gonna like it.
Spotify is not gonna like it. But then we also
Yeah.
like with the song like "We'll Never Know," which is in traditional rock songs, like the guitar solo comes after the second chorus verse combo. This is an example where the guitar solo is kind of saved for like the last 20 seconds of the song. Are there?
There's actually a reason for that. I wanted to start earlier with that solo, but then Floor sang that note. Really, that's the reason. I mean, Floor just kept going with that note, and I was like, I'm not going to play my solo over that note. That's totally goosebumpy.
Yeah. So okay, so maybe if that happened almost quasi by accident,
Mhm.
but are there some other tropey things in rock that you would like to get rid of? Like, for example, well, you do a first chorus, you do not do a first verse, another verse, chorus, first chorus, solo, solo, solo,
Mm.
chorus, last verse, chorus. Yeah,
It's Prague, man. It's Prague. That's
yeah,
all I can say. I mean, that stems from the little Arjen who was listening to "Thick as a Brick." The one song of 40 minutes that goes everywhere.
yeah,
That,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and also I always had. I loved songs, but I never liked the chorus. I
Okay.
always liked the verses, and then the chorus comes. And it's probably easy to sing along, and it repeats itself, and it's like you know I always preferred verses.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
even with my album, Theory of Everything, it's like there's no choruses at
Yeah,
all, you know and it's not a very clever thing to do, because especially nowadays with the attention span of people,
yeah,
they want something catchy. And like now, AI bands, being number one in the charts, that's what they want. But I never liked it myself, so it's not an obvious choice. Like I want to be difficult, for people.
yeah.
It's just I do what I like myself, and that's never been too fond of choruses.
Is that also because at the heart of it, you are always telling a story, and a chorus doesn't necessarily
Totally.
add new value to a story?
Totally, and of course it's repeating, so you're just repeating yourself.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's like I want to tell a story, and I want to like move to the next subject, and not repeat stuff. Yeah, that's true. I never thought about that. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
really telling a story. If you read a book, you don't have like parts that that return on the next page again.
Waste time trying to play.
you mentioned Floor. Now, you've obviously worked a lot with Floor. You were one of the people that saw her talent very, very early on. You've worked like the Netherlands, and I mean, obviously, I'm slightly, jealous as a Belgian guy, but like the Netherlands has, without a doubt, has been the best place in the world for, let's call it just, I know it's
That's
not
true.
100% fair, but let's call it symphonic female metal singers.
Sure.
With Floor, with Sharon, with obviously Simone, with Anneke, with Diane. And you've
Hmm.
worked with all of them, Zora Kok as well now.
Yeah,
We see more of. Um,
worked with
of
her as well.
exactly, because she did some of the re-recordings of your solo
Right.
stuff, right?
Cool. Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
Like out of all like the amazing Dutch symphonic metal ladies, the only one
Hmm.
I think that you haven't worked with yet is Charlotte Wessels.
It's true. Yeah, I would love to because I love her last solo album, and
That's
of
like the
course,
last one. Timo is the
yeah,
connection there as well.
Timo is the connection. So
Yeah, yeah,
it
yeah.
will happen if she wants to, of course.
Well, so I mean, is it like how as a fan, like it would be so awesome if there was like one day an Aryan album or a Aryan or Star One or whatever it would be called,
Mm.
where you bring all these women together. Is that something that we could
Uh,
dream of? Is that
I'm not sure. Well, of course, I had. There are plenty of photos of that where it's called Arjen's Angels, and
right?
it's Simone, Anneke, and Floor on the same album, Zero One.
Yeah,
But I wouldn't want to force it. It wouldn't want to be like I want all the Dutch female singers on one album. It would be, I don't know, it would be some kind of a rule then, and it would
right.
limit me. And of course, I like the contrast of male voices and female voices. So
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I don't think I would ever do that. I think on Zero One I came close by having those three total stars there.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. It's amazing to see, like how Netherlands has had so much raw talent,
I
and
think
so many
it's
have worked with you.
I think it's Anneke. That's where it all started. The gathering was.
Yeah,
I remember the first time that they played on Pink Pop Festival, and I saw recordings. It was like, holy shit! It's metal with female. Now it's so normal, but then it really wasn't, and she was
Yeah.
so good, and that was really the start of it. And I think, like what was happening with brunch, in Seattle, it happened in Seattle. Why in Seattle? Well, I don't know. Was Nirvana the first? I don't know. Soundgarden, Alice in Chains. I have no idea. But you know, get one act, and the rest will follow. And
Yeah.
I think that's what happened with the gathering.
Yeah. I definitely know that Charlotte Wessels. She's told me that growing up singing The Gathering was like
Really?
what made
Okay,
it
cool.
what made it normal for, because it's, you know how every female singer gets the question at one point in an interview, like, what's it like being a girl in the metal world, and all the
Yeah,
kind
yeah,
of
yeah, yeah, yeah,
those
yeah,
stupid
yeah.
questions.
Yeah.
And I know that Charlotte has told me that, she just is like, for me it wasn't weird because as a kid I saw Anakin.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Now you also, I didn't have a chance at the time, because how the releases worked out, to interview you specifically for that one, but I do want to ask you about the collaboration you did with Simone for her. Well, I mean, it's Ayreon and Simone together, really. That album, the Vermilion album. That was a really cool album as well. Some really nice songs. That I think my favorite is still "In Love We Trust" on that album.
Yeah.
When you've created an album specifically for one singer, it would you include songs like that in Arjen shows, or would that feel too weird having a different person perform that song? I know that obviously in your shows it's often the case that a different singer on stage performs a song than the person that recorded it on an album. But when you record an album specifically for Simone, what's that like for you? Is there a future to include those songs?
Only if Simone. I think
Only if she would sing it.
Yeah. Only if she, of course.
Yeah.
Well, Simone, obviously, she's playing with Epica. That's why she can't do the shows in
I
September.
know.
If she would have been there, I would have thought of playing one of the tracks, because I'm very, very proud of that album. I think I even planned it. Yeah. And I heard only later on that sorry, she was sorry. I have to play myself. I can't do it. But yeah, that's definitely an option.
This is the end of my story. The end of the world.
I know that you want to, you like doing what you want to do, and you don't like rules and whatnot. And as far as I can tell, there's been one big regret for you, and that's when you had to make that Christmas single a few years ago. If you ever had to make another holiday single, but any kind of holiday, it doesn't have to be Christmas. What would you do?
Do you mean would I do it or wouldn't I do it, or after the Christmas
No, like well, is there like a holiday that you would be?
Oh, okay.
You would have some fun with trying to make something, and if not Christmas, what would it be?
Well, thing is, I haven't been on a holiday for 25 years, I think. I think the last holiday I had was a promotion tour for my album 01, where I went to 15 countries to do interviews. That was my last holiday. So I'm not a holiday person at all, and I don't even know that it's a holiday, because I just keep on working, and I don't even. No, I really wouldn't know.
So we should never expect the Aryan Halloween or Valentine's Day or Easter song.
I don't think so.
All right, good to know.
No, and also the Christmas thing I did, it proves that I'm not good at that. I'm not good at when people tell me do something like that. I could never make film music, if Spielberg would come to me like, can you make movie
That's
from my
interesting.
next music from it? I couldn't do it. It would be like, okay, so for me the ideas come to me, and I can't force them at all. I wish I could, I wish I you could sit down and let's write this, and maybe I can, but it wouldn't be good. So
Right.
yeah, how do you say in opdracht? I can't write music.
Yeah. It's like when it's mandatory, or when somebody's giving you,
That's it. Yeah.
like, it's not by commission, if you will.
No,
Like,
by commission. That's it.
yeah.
Yeah, I can do it, but it wouldn't be good. That's
Yeah,
the thing.
yeah. Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. Because obviously there's a huge cinematic element to your Arjen music.
True,
But what
yeah,
you're
yeah.
saying is, I couldn't write music for somebody else, but this is my story, and I need you to make the soundtrack to it. You would
That's
always
it.
make
That's
your
it.
own
You have
story.
to make a movie.
Yeah.
Okay, Steven, it's okay. You make a movie to my album, then then we have a
Yeah.
deal.
So, to wrap this up, Arjen, because I know that we're running out of time fast. Again, like, I always feel like
It's
I talk
always
for
the same.
hours to you, but you are celebrating 30 years of Arjen in September. That's a huge milestone. I know that every time seeing these shows getting sold out and so many people coming and having such a great time with it is feels fantastic for you, even if you don't like to necessarily be on the stage. Is there anything left on your wish list at this point? Is there an artist you haven't worked with? Well, no, that's a stupid. People ask all the time, who do you want to work with? But is there still a milestone that you want to get to?
Well, that movie thing we talked about,
Yeah.
like someone making a movie to my albums,
Yeah.
someone who would say like, hey, I think I can make a very cool movie to the Human Equation, for instance, and would use your music, and that would be a milestone. And of course, I tried it with my last album, Transitus. But I know how expensive it is, and I know how hard it is to get funding and to get the right producers, etc., directors and stuff. So it's really hard. I tried it myself. I'm not going to try again, but it would be a dream come true, of course, if something like that would happen, or even if someone would use one of my songs, in a movie or in a TV series. I mean, that goes fast, if they really use your song for a TV series, you see on YouTube, you see the views exploding.
For sure.
I mean, that's really the way to reach people now. But for that you need a publisher, and who gets a part of the copyrights, and a publisher who tries to get this kind of a job for you. And there's so many, like Steven Wilson, I heard him say that nowadays in one day there's just as many releases as in the whole year of 1989. So yeah, there's so much on offer. So the chance is so slim, but that would be great.
That would be great. Well, it's out there in the ether now. Let's manifest it. Let's manifest. But we just know that in order to make you happy, it has to be somewhat of a sci-fi horror movie about human emotion, and there has to be a bad ending at the end of it, and then everybody will be happy. Awesome. Well, it won't be a shitty ending, but it won't be a shitty ending for these upcoming shows and for everything else that's coming out.
I hope not. I truly hope not. We worked on it for 2 years.
Exactly. And let's be real. Before we know it, there will be another announcement for another album that you're working on.
Yeah.
Because you have...
unless, of course, in 5 months...
Well...
the asteroid is going to, make an end to everything.
The asteroid might make an end to it. But maybe there were some other hidden secrets on the album that gives us a different story. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe we're in for one big shagathon, which is exactly
one of the tracks on the album.
Everybody watching here, can go in and find out when the album comes out, and
that's it.
A blue bus to Shagathon and have fun with everything, and finally understand what we're talking about. But I will not spoil anything, because I know how much your fans care about going on that journey for themselves.
Cool.
Arjen, thank you so much for your time today. Always have a great time talking to you.
Always a pleasure.
I know it won't be long before I talk to you again. So have a fantastic rest of the day, rest of the week, rest of the summer.
Thank you.
And enjoy this release cycle of the new album.
I am. Thanks, Jasper.
There you go.
Talk to you next time.
Beyond the
You are awesome for watching this video. Click right here to see more content like it and subscribe to the channel.